Hey everyone, welcome to week 3. This is our first exercise video. I know that makes it sound like we're hitting the gym, but definitely not hitting the gym. We are just focusing on some exercises that repeat over and over again to help you build up your technique. And the way I'm going to structure these is very much like focused on what we learned in our technique videos from week 1, and then that month's exercise video will be very applicable to that technique. And then also potentially cross over into the other videos of the month. So it's very much like distilling some of the stuff we're using in our basslines, melodies, technique, and thinking of ways to apply those in an exercise format. So I think pretty much we're going to focus on 2 different things today. The second one has 2 different versions that we're going to learn. But one is this repeating chromatic exercise called Neener-Ne-Ner, which I learned from a great teacher of mine from Berkeley, Susan Hagen. And the next is just your basic 1-octave G major scale. And then we're going to apply some right hand technique to that and thinking about how we can rotate between the pointer and the middle finger. So first off, Neener-Ne-Ner. If you watch my technique video from week 1, you'll know the sound of this based on the notes that I used in that video. So first things first, we're going to put our pointer finger on the A flat on the G string. That's the very first note on the G string. Sounds like that. And then from there, second finger on A and pinky on B flat. So you got that nice perpendicular hand position to the strings. Economy of motion. Again, I think every video is going to be economy of motion. The tag will show up in every video. I'm almost positive. So yeah, you have you're really using the stretch of your hand to the fullest capacity. So those are the 3 notes we'll be using in this exercise. And the exercise itself sounds like this. You can kind of tell that you can hear Neener-Ne-Ner in that exercise, kind of like a seesaw or something like that, That's what I always picture. And the purpose of this exercise is to make sure that left hand shape can be maintained over 3 half steps like this. And if you can get it down here, you can get it anywhere because this is the farthest stretch you're going to have to do on the instrument. What I'll recommend is going all the way up to the E on the G string, that note. And I'll put this all in the notation so it's clear. But yeah, so we're going to be going up from this A flat to the highest position in this area of the bass. And I won't demonstrate that all right now, but I'll show you how to work up and down in this exercise. And I'll also put on a metronome. 60 beats per minute is what I recommend. I think that's like the best, most straight ahead metronome click for any sort of exercise. We're going to be using 60 a lot. So I'll slap that metronome on. And I'll go up maybe 2 half steps. Go up to the B flat with my first finger. So we're sliding up with our first finger. Last one. make sure that two other things. One I talked about in first week's video. Make sure your thumb is across from your middle finger, right? So we have that kind of nice mirror effect with those two fingers. And one other thing I actually did not mention, which is important, is your elbow on your left hand. You know, I see a lot of people kind of let their elbow fall like this onto the wood. I really want it to stay up. And that doesn't mean like 90 degrees out, you know, kind of straight. It's like a 45-degree angle. Just so your wrist and your elbow are all on the same line. You don't want that to you don't want your wrist to bend awkwardly. You want things to be straight. It's going to, you know, make for best position, least injuries going forward. So that's the Neener-Ne-Ner. And like I said, I'd recommend just doing what I just did, but just go all the way up to the D, E flat, E. And that'll be, you know, the easiest one as far as the hand stretch is concerned. And it'll also get you acquainted with that area of the bass if you haven't already played up there already. Cool, so that's the Neener-Ne-Ner. Highly recommended. I use it as a warm-up too, so it's really, really great exercise. Now we'll look at our first major scale, G major. And what we're going to do is break down what finger is played on what note. And it's going to be a kind of similar concept to Neener-Ne-Ner in the sense that our hand is going to be stretched to its fullest capacity across 3 half steps. And we'll be going from this very low G on the E string up to the open G, you know, and we'll navigate that. So I'll kind of talk it through as we go. Just for those of you who don't have the notation, want to make sure everyone gets this. So first things first, we're going to use our middle finger to play that low G. Nice growly tone. And then we're going to use open A string. So don't let your hand fly like this, but this is just demonstrative. First finger on B, just like that. Second finger on C. Open D. First finger on E. Fourth finger on F sharp. And the open G. And coming back down, looks like this. See how my hand doesn't have to move at all to play that scale. And that's the goal. I mean, some scales aren't set up quite as well on the bass. You do have to shift a little bit, but you want to shift as little as possible. So that's the G major scale. And what I wanted to do to expand on that is talk about playing the scale with our pointer finger and our middle finger, each note being played twice, so you get that rotation. And the idea here is that we want evenness between these two strings, between these two fingers, excuse me. We don't want, you know, the pointer finger note to be louder than the middle finger note or vice versa or anything. You really don't even want to be able to tell which finger is being played. And this is going to be really applicable to next week. We're going to look at our first melody. We're going to do the St. Anne's Reel. And we'll be talking about like what finger to use when and how to divide that up based on eighth notes, quarter notes, etc. So, for example, you really don't want this. Super uneven, right? That pointer finger note's super loud and then the middle finger kind of trails off. Make sure that essentially it's like if you closed your eyes, you couldn't even tell what finger was being played. If you weren't the one playing, of course. So what you're looking for is something like this. Back down. Yeah, first few notes there were not quite what I was intending, but I got into it, you know. So that's what you're looking for. And I'll put the metronome on. I'll play the scale with one note, one note per finger. What am I trying to say here? Play it just one note at a time, and then I'll double it. Let's go with that. Okay, here we go. 60 beats per minute. G major scale 2 ways. And 2 clicks per note is great here. So that's one note. Here's the double. Yeah. All right, everyone. So go forth and exercise your fingers and your brain. That stuff's going to be really useful going forward. And like I said, especially that last exercise for next week. Try to get those fingers even. And you can, come up with your own things for going pointer to middle on the right hand. You can really use any exercise you want. Cool. So that's all for today, folks. Thanks so much again for tuning into this. And only 3 patrons away from 20. So I'm sure I can do it by the end of the month. Hopefully I can surpass it. So again, anybody you know, please reach out. And I'll see you guys next week. Thanks so much.